Hey everybody, good evening. Yalancy Peterson here. Ride with Peterson. It is Wednesday, March 18th, 2020. It is 11:42. Um, this will not be a long live stream because in 18 minutes, Star Trek Picard is coming on. So I'm definitely going to be checking out right at midnight so I can catch the latest episode. Hey El Chapo, how are you doing? Um, but what I wanted to do is I wanted to talk briefly about how my day went. Hey Darius, what's going on, man? Good to see you. I got to give you a call. Um, and I want to talk about what several car life gig workers will potentially be dealing with over the next couple of weeks, perhaps the next month, as the situation with the coronavirus and the city shutting down, the communities, the country shutting down, um, gets worse. Today, I had a very simple thing to do. I had to go to the bathroom. And I'm like, oh, no problem. I just go on ahead and do the same thing I always do. But um, I my car wash spot was shut down, closed, coronavirus. I couldn't go to the car wash. All the restaurants, they are all takeout only or drive-through. So all the restrooms shut down. The malls closed. Can't use the restroom. So I'd say, you know what? No problem at all. I'll go to the police station because police stations always open. They're open 24 hours a day. LAPD's got, I believe, 22 of them spread out around the city. The lobbies of all police stations are now closed. Can't go in for non-essential work. Non-essential visits. I'm like, my goodness, what in the world am I going to do? Um, I wasn't properly prepared to go to a porta potty because with a porta potty, you need to have, your sanitary materials. You got to have your wipes. You got to sanitize everything, spray down, all like that. No, because service stations, you never know if you get to the service station if they're going to shut down the service station or not. Remember, service stations do have outside windows as well too, and they could say, "Hey, you know what? For social distancing, you can pay at the window and do it that way." And then they could say, "Hey, you don't even have to go to the window during the day. Pay at the terminal, pay at the pump." So to go the inside the gas station is not a reliable option to count on. I ultimately drove 45 miles to Ontario to get to the Petro. I decided to come to Petro rather than go to TA. They both do the same thing. Showers $15. I had to do the whole treatment. I figured, you know what, this might be my last shower for the next 14 to 30 days. So I'm like, this is going to be hard. And the funny thing is, I may not even have to deal with it like that because there are people that I can call and I can talk to and say, hey, I need to use your facilities. But for me to do a complete cleanup the way I do, because I don't have my own spot, it takes me about 2 hours because I do the face, do the head, shower up, change clothes. It takes me a minute to get it right. But it's going to be tough because I'm expecting things to get really, really tough. I'm expecting, if the numbers don't go down and people still keep, there's still more cases coming in. Excuse me. Ooh. Then the government for 30 days. I called my mom to say, hey, do you have enough supplies in the house to last you for 30 days? Water, dry food, because I don't think utilities or anything like that will be affected. Electricity will still go, running water, natural gas for heating. It's just, she'll be cooped up in the house. She has a whole room full of water, literally a whole room full of water. So and then of course there's the tap water. Lots of beans and rice, um, nuts, so raisins, foods that don't require refrigeration and can last for a long time. So she's already good to go. But it's going to be tough. I have resources I can fall back on, worst case scenario, but there are some drivers out there that don't have resources to fall on. They don't have friends and family. They don't have a place to go. It's just them in the vehicle and that's it. Um, to a point, I agree with you, Darius, because there are some. I'm looking at some of the titles of some of the videos and some of the descriptions of how the media is talking about it and portraying it, and it seems a bit more dramatic, a bit more hyperbole than what is necessary. Um, but still, the fact is this, and you have to understand. Let's just do the math and let's do a worst case scenario. Let's say there are 300 million people in the United States. This ultimately has a fatality rate of 3%. Let's see. You're talking 9 million people are going to die from this. 9 million people are going to die from this. That's a lot of folk. You could say that's about the population, a little bit more of not LA, of New York, and the metropolitan area surrounding that. There are a lot more people than 9 million people, but just imagine that. Let's say you look at the high side and you look at 10% of the population dies, because right now the fatality rate is between 3 to 6% based on what's going on right now. I've seen numbers as high as 18%. I've seen numbers that are as low as the flu, which is 0.1%. So if we lose 10% of the population just in the United States alone, you're looking at potentially losing nearly the population of the state of California. Um, that's a big deal, and that's why everyone is making such a big deal about it, because they're thinking worst case scenario. And also, what's going on is they don't want the hospital system to be overtaxed, overburdened with a lot of people coming into the hospital to be treated for coronavirus symptoms, and they have to turn away people. They go back into the environment, and more people are being subject to exposure. So they're like, hey, if we can flatten the curve, is what they keep saying over and over again, then we can control. Oh, goodness. We control how many people are exposed to this virus. And so the healthcare system can absorb the people as they get infected, help them mitigate their symptoms, help some people who are susceptible to the severe effects of the disease possibly survive. So, um, this is uncharted water for for the country, that's for sure. As I'm driving down from LA to Ontario, and I'm looking, car dealerships are closing down. Um, you know, every restaurant I could see is empty. They're all saying either drive in, drive through, take out orders, or in some places they're just outright closed. Um, the freeway, the traffic was great today. It's a Wednesday at 4 in the afternoon, and I got to Ontario in 20 minutes. Normal traffic. There was only one slowdown. The there were no cars on the road. I mean, there were cars, but it was free flowing. It was strange. Um, and it's going to be interesting to see how it goes tomorrow. Yeah, they're telling everyone to stay inside, um, to self quarantine, so that the odds of you getting infected will be lower. Now, for me, it's very interesting because I'm able to continue working on Postmates because I can go out, pick up deliveries, take them to people, leave them at their front door, practice social distancing is what they call it, social distancing, and yet still, make some money. Um, after after the white Prius was turned in, I'm now in the Lexus CT, and I decided not to even put this car on Uber or Lyft because look, before coronavirus even came, I had too many people getting up in this car sneezing and coughing and hacking and not covering their um their face. And I'm thinking, this is so rude. I just got over a cold that a little girl gave me. I mean, literally, she was sitting right in the middle here, and she's just coughing, and her mother's not doing anything to tell her to cover her mouth. Oh no, this car is strictly a rental. A subscriber on the channel, he saw what I was dealing with, what I was going through, and we had actually been speaking about me getting this vehicle for a couple of weeks. But I was fairly committed to the Prius. I was going to stick with that car for 3 months, and then the accident happened early Sunday morning, and so I'm like, you know what, um, I got to do something. And so I called the gentleman and I asked him if the car was still available, and he said yes. And just incredibly gracious. He drove up from his home all the way up to where I had to turn in the Prius, and then we drove back down to his place and put me in the car. And he even gave me 2 weeks to make the first weekly payment on the vehicle. This car, it's a 2011 CT 200H. It's the Lexus that is like a wannabe Mini Cooper, and it's silver on the outside, silver with black leather interior. Um, I tell you this, the CT 200. I've always liked the way the CT 200 looked. I thought it was a cool looking car. It actually has a halfway decent sound system in it, but the ergonomics are really crap. I'm not totally comfortable in the car. Um, I was more comfortable in the Prius, in either Prius, the 2013 I had and the 2016 I had. The 2013 Prius was actually more comfortable than the 2016 Prius, but I'm glad that I was in the 2016 when I got hit because it's a better structured car. Um, I love the materials of the car. I love the layout of everything. And I do like having a moonroof. That's pretty cool. It's kind of hard to position the magnetic mounts um, for the for my phone, so I'm making do with what I have. Interior space is tight. The back seat space is tight, um, but the cargo room is actually halfway decent. This car does not qualify for any of the premium platforms. It's a subcompact hatchback, and it doesn't qualify for any of that. Um, in this particular case, just because it's a Lexus, that doesn't mean I can put it on Select or Comfort or or Lyft Lux, for that matter. In fact, um, this vehicle, um, not even on Lyft. No, this vehicle, I actually don't plan on putting this vehicle on rideshare. Even when the quarantine orders and the social distancing and all of that um, um, passes away, I will. I'm keeping this car just on deliveries. Um, that's all I'm going to do it for, is deliveries. I'm not going to do ride share with this car. I mean, I like the car; it's great, but that's it. JS, can you read, Peterson? Can you read my comment, please? And no, I'm not going to do private rides. I'm done with private rides. I have a job. I'm gonna get to your comment in a second, JS. Let's see if I can find it. Yeah, Darius, Grubhub, DoorDash, Postmates, Shift. That's where you want to be now. You want to be with deliveries. Working with people is not it anymore. Hey, Roy, thank you so much for the comment, man. I appreciate it. I'm hanging in there, doing okay. I'm in Ontario now. I'm gonna watch Star Trek Picard, and then I'm gonna get to work. Is Uber even still operating there? I'm hearing that Uber, Lyft, and Via will most likely be shut down in the next few days in my area, and it's already extremely slow now. Um, well, here's a situation with Uber and Lyft. The companies are still active. They're still, um, you know, people are still using the service. But what may happen is this: if if the government decides to shut down public transit, meaning no buses, no trains, um, limited to non-existent airline service, they're going to shut down the ride shares as well too. Um, and all they have to do is flip a switch. They've already turned off shared rides. They should have did that the moment this thing was first announced. But it's only inevitable they're going to do it, and here's the reason why. You're going to have people that's going to get in these cars and they're going to be sick. They're going to be blowing and sneezing and coughing on drivers. And then you're going to have drivers that are going to get infected, and then they're going to be infecting people that get in the vehicle back and forth all the time. I started thinking about this when I was in Rancho Mirage, when I was in Palm Springs, and yeah, they're going. I mean, like right now in LA, I'm looking at the buses, and the buses are virtually empty. Um, because when I drove these buses, usually people were packed on the buses, and here's another situation you have to really consider about public transportation. You have a lot of people who are not they're not clean. They're not washing their hands. You have a lot of stuff that's being touched. People are touching their faces, touching their bodies, touching the seats and door handles and whatnot, and it's just a it's just a nightmare. But public transit will be one of the last things that will be shut down before the country goes into a full lockdown. That will be necessary. Um, the last line of defense for rideshare drivers will be to get on board with delivery services so they can continue making money. I'm with both DoorDash and Postmates, and I can tell you, Postmates itself was off the chain. I was getting order after order after order. I'm like, wow, when will this stop? And it won't. It's going to keep getting busier and busier. And as time goes on, a lot of people are going to realize they can live. We live in a society today, literally, where you can be born and you can do everything at home. You don't have to leave house for anything, um, except when it's time to bury you and take you out of the house. I mean, think about this. I'm able to exist um, in this car. Um, I'm able to exist. Well, it depends on where here is for you. See, I live in Los Angeles. I live in Southern California. This is a major transportation hub for all kinds of stuff, and I'm doing great on Postmates. I'm like, hey, it's all right. But my concern is if they decide to, shut down transit, and if I can't get gas. And then if I go to certain places and they say, hey, you can't, I'm worried about using the restroom, about taking showers, about keeping my clothes clean, because I already know getting a car wash, unless I do a self-serve car wash, getting a car wash won't be possible anymore. Um, I may have to depend on porta potties now. Um, they may do something proactively for people who are homeless or who live in their vehicles, and they may put out porta potties. And now that means you will need to have disinfectants and plenty of towels with you. Um, no, the hotels are not closed, not that I'm aware of. But here's the deal: I don't make the kind of money to afford. I just went and rented two nights at Motel 6. The lowest price I was able to find, when you factor in taxes and fees, was $77 for the night. I can't continue. $77 for let's just do the math. 77 times 30 days. That's $2,310 a month. I cannot afford that. Um, it was tough enough trying to pay for the car to do that. But I'm like, right now, financially, I need a break. And so I'm like, hey, I've got a vehicle that's going to give me 2 months to work with. There are other bills I need to put money towards in order to restabilize myself. So I'm like, to go from spending $60 a day, $61 a day on a car, to now doing $77 a day for a motel room. The pressure is still going to be there. Now, can I do it maybe twice or three times a week? I could do that. I couldn't do it before, but now I can. So, I'll go from there. I'll be all right. I'm not really worried about what's going to happen with me, because I've got the vehicle, and I can stock up on water. There's places, safety, I can go to, and if push comes to shove, there are a few people I can call, I can talk to, and I can get some assistance from them on that. But as far as me staying with somebody, that's not going to happen. I'm like, I'm sorry. I don't want to deal with I don't want to deal with that kind of I'm looking for a certain word, but I don't want to deal with that kind of situation anymore with anyone, because it ultimately always ends up being a disappointment. So I'm like, you know what? I appreciate the offer to stay with you and be in a bed or so like that, but in this particular case, I feel more secure just doing it my way, being on my own in the car. So the I wish the gentleman that is letting me use his vehicle and giving me time to get things straight so that I can start making the payments for him for this car. He literally saved my life, because I do believe I'd be on the streets right now. So this is the timing was just amazing. Anyway, my reason for coming on board the channel tonight was to basically share with you just a few things of what drivers who are basically going to be the last line of defense for some people. I do $100 a day on Postmates. That's where I keep my 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 production at. I'm not trying to do I'm not trying to do $250 a day. If I can do $100 a day on Postmates, which is quite easy to do, I'm good. I'm cool. And every time I do Postmates, I always do $100. And then when I'm done, I shut it down, because I like to enjoy my life. Now, when I was doing rideshare, I'd want to do $200 a day on rideshare. And the main reason why is simply because on rideshare, the odds are greater you're going to make $200, but also it's because I'm just sitting here getting eats. You gotta, or with any gig work that involves delivery, you gotta find a place to park, get out the car, gotta go inside, gotta get the order squared away, and then get back in the vehicle. And sometimes you gotta pay for parking, or you gotta park in the red, or park in the wrong direction, or park in the driveway, or park the fire hydrant or whatnot. You gotta go through all that stuff with the delivery work. So for me to make $100 a day on Postmates, I'm happy with it. But see, then it was a weird situation like what happened today, when I had to go to the hospital and also to the nursing home, and those two instances really freaked me out, because I felt like I was being placed at risk for contracting coronavirus, because those areas are like hotbeds of where the virus could potentially be. So, but my purpose here was to come and discuss briefly what drivers who are in the same situation I'm in are about to face. Um, this will not be easy. If you don't have military training, if you don't have um, a backup plan in place, where you were doing this before this actually happened, it's going to hit you hard. It's going to hit you hard. I've been in my vehicle now for 3.5 years. 3.5 years. I've been in this vehicle since March. Oh, let me see. April. April 2016. I've been in my vehicle since May. I'm sorry, May of 2017. I have a routine in place. I know where to go. I know what not to do. I know what to do. Um, and all of it is going to be put to the test now, because I've got to be prepared for possibly not showering for 14 to 30 days. I have to be prepared to live on an apple a day, literally one apple a day. I've got to be prepared to deal with drinking just tap water. Okay, I got to be prepared for things getting a lot worse with a lot of people out here before things get better. Um, I got to be ready for it. and I am ready for it. But a lot of people out there won't be ready for it. Um, I believe that before this is all over with, Uber and Lyft will have to suspend services entirely for everything. Um, but Postmates, delivery services, those things will still continue to go. However, it could get to the point where they say, hey, all gig work has to stop because you can't be, it gets to that point, then what's going to happen. So what if things go bad, like gas lines start forming, and gas stations are shut down because there won't be any fuel to for people to put gasoline in their cars. I can tell you this: if it lasts for a while, sales of electric cars are going to go through the roof. If that happens, if these gas lines get crazy, people are going to start buying up those bolts that are sitting on the lots. They're going to start buying those Nissan Leafs. They're going to start, buying these used electric vehicles if the gasoline becomes a problem. Um, because if they shut down the roads, where are the trucks going to go to deliver the vehicles unless they make an exemption for them? This is going to be interesting to see what happens. It's going to be very interesting, and we're going into uncharted territory. All right, I'm 14 minutes late. It's time for me to watch Star Trek Picard. Hey, everybody. Thank you for checking out my little live stream here today. I appreciate it. I'm looking forward to what's going to happen tomorrow. And I think everything is going to, even though it might get worse, I think everything is going to be okay. But I just wanted to say hello, and hopefully I get some response to this. They pulled production on Cars Day. Yeah, I knew that was going to happen. I mean, because think about it, you have all those people who are in these car plants, and hey, Rideshare Black, thanks for that. I appreciate it. Yeah. Um, um, Yeah, that's right, Darius. Most people that are dying from it are elderly and unhealthy, low immune people. And the reason why is because the virus, it basically causes inflammation of the cardiovascular system, not the cardiovascular system. I'm sorry, of the respiratory system. It's an acute respiratory um, um, an acute respiratory problem, and it causes your lungs to get inflamed. And when your lungs get inflamed, the alveoli fill with fluid, and it interferes with the gas exchange in the alveoli between the carbon dioxide that your cells produce as waste and the oxygen that your cells need as fuel and nourishment. When that process is interrupted, your body goes into hypoxia, you deal with multiple organ failure, and you pass away. Basically your body is starved of oxygen. Um, so people who have underlying health issues, those that are elderly, those that have compromised immune systems, people that have been, have damaged lungs because of smoking or other environmental factors, they are the ones who are, um, you know what, that government check, I believe that when it's in my when it's in my checking account and my balance states that much. I don't believe anything. It sounds nice, but I ain't gonna believe it until I can actually see it. It sounds like a great plan. It really does. Um, you know, but I think what's going to end up happening is the majority of people who are going to get the money, they're not going to spend it. They're going to keep it, and they're going to hold on to it for as long as they can because they're going to have to. One report said it was going to be $1,000. Then another report said it was going to be $2,000. Some reports are saying it's going to vary from $2,000 to $6,000. You know what? It's all, to me, it's wishful thinking. When the check actually comes and it's in my checking account and it cleared, and then we'll see. But right now I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I don't, I don't believe it. That's what everyone's saying, that oh, we're gonna get money, we're gonna get money. No, 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 no. Because you're gonna have too many people that's gonna be complaining. That's that's socialism. We shouldn't be doing that. If these people weren't prepared for something like this, then they don't deserve nothing. Because I'm gonna tell you, probably the main reason why the government is willing to offer it is for one reason. There are going to be a lot of people who will not be able to survive a full 14 to 30 days with what they have in their homes right now. It's just that simple. Think about it. If you don't have if you don't have enough water, if you don't have enough food in your home, you ain't gonna make it. Now, I look at my situation and I'm like, just how bad can this get? Just how bad can this get? No, businesses will go under if they run out of capital. If they have a boss, if they have a landlord that's coming and say, hey, you need to pay this monthly rent. You need to pay these payroll taxes. If the world keeps going on as if they're still collecting money and they're not collecting money, yeah, the businesses will be gone relatively quick. But it's not. This isn't even really about business anymore. This is really about people now at this point, because a business can be rebuilt. You can start over again. If this thing gets really bad, when it's all over and done or so like that, the credit markets will loosen up. They'll say, hey, we need to get the economy going. We're going to provide a stimulus package so that people can restart businesses and they get the money they need to get back on their feet again. They could put a moratorium on evictions so people don't get kicked out of their homes, don't get kicked out of their apartments, don't get kicked out of their businesses. There's all kinds of things they can do to mitigate that situation. But right now, we're talking about how long will you last with no food in your home? With if you depend on water, how long will you last without that? Like me, I'm like, hey, you know what? I can last for 30 days. I need a source of water. I need an apple a day, maybe a meal replacement deal. Just take one meal replacement, take it down to one pack, a 400 calorie meal replacement. And then of course a place to do the bathroom functions, and hopefully take a shower. If not, then you're gonna have to go full out army bivouac. Well, no showers, forget about it. Get a wet, but eat an apple a day, a bag of cashews, and be okay. Get some cold instant oatmeal, pour the water in there, let it sit for 30 minutes so it gets nice and soft, and then eat it. Do what you gotta do, and go from there. Plus, I got a nice spare 100 pounds of fat sitting on me that I can get rid of. That's a very effective way to survive. So I mean, I may not save any money, but I certainly saved a lot of fat on my midsection here. So if it comes down to where I need a way to survive, like, look, let me get a small apple to keep the stomach doing its thing, keep the stomach calm, and then my body will burn off the fat, and we'll go from there. But I believe that when everything is said and done, I will be okay. I'll be fine. Um, so that's that, and I'm hoping that everyone else is out there as well too. I really do. I hope everyone else is okay, but it's going to be tough. The government, they're providing the stimulus money really because I would hope that they believe this. If people don't get it, more people are going to die from starvation and dehydration than they will from the actual virus. That's a fact. If they decide they're going to shut down this country, and people can't move about, and they're going to have martial law or full quarantines, and they're going to do what Italy is doing, um, people are going to die. People are going to die. You're going to have a lot of people who are homeless are going to die. You're going to have a lot of people who are poor, who are really poor. They're going to die. Um, Elderly folk, disabled people. Um, I don't think violence is going to increase more so. I just think that what's going to end up happening is you're just going to see a lot of disorder, but not necessarily violence. But yeah, people are gonna die, and that's what the stimulus package is for. If people know that they have money in their pocket, they have $2,000. Um, they'll say, okay, let's ration this money out so we can go out and get food. Do what we need to do. We'll be okay. Um, they probably need to just simply say, look, we need to give every American $3,000, meaning that every person has $100 a day to work with. Um, but hey, they may go for a middle approach and say, okay, let's just do $1,500, because then that gives each person $50 a day to work with. Um, but you're correct, Darius. You are absolutely correct. Some people, they may have to deal with break-ins and trespassing and things like that, because they see a person, they see a house, and if they have a house, they probably have something in the house that they can get, food and water. They'll start knocking on doors and everything like that. Um, so we'll see what happens. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough. All right, everybody. I'm gonna go on ahead and hang it up. I just came on board to speak about what I came on board to speak about what some of the things that car life gig workers will be dealing with. I'm one of them, and it's going to be all right. Of course, gun sales went up. That was inevitable. Especially people that live out in the boonies all by themselves. Oh yeah, absolutely. Goodness. All right, everyone. Take care. Have a good one, and I will catch you. I'll more than likely make another video tomorrow. Tell you how it goes. All right. Take care.